And I take it every day, 2 or 3 times. It's a spray that you create with iodine and saline. And you spray it in the back of your throat because that's what gets attacked first by the coronavirus. And it's the same iodine presentation that they will use like in a surgery field, right? And the reason they do that is to prevent germs. And I've been doing that ever since this.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for joining FastRockett. We'll see you guys later.
This is going to be a lit episode.
Right?
We lost him. Oh my goodness.
It feels like old times.
That was awesome.
So yeah, and I will, if you want it, I'll send it to you. You can make it up. It's easy. I take it 2 or 3 times a day. And now it was on the hush hush then, but then about 3 months into the COVID thing, 2 or 3 studies came out saying exactly the same thing and what you could use. And so he was
spot on.
Yeah, he was just spot on that. Hello, Dr. Wally. Good to see you, buddy.
Go.
I love you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I will say the fasting thing too, it like you'd mentioned and Pat had said so too. I mean, it does, you feel energized, you feel really good. And then when it's time to sleep, I sleep really well. That's the other thing that I've seen huge improvement too.
Interesting. Because I don't see that. I don't sleep as much, and I'm up and ready to go. I want to get going. I mean, I'm so energized.
How much do you sleep a night?
4 or 5 hours. Not a lot.
I'm the same way.
I mean, it's the same way. I mean, when you do what we do, particularly in the morning thing, you just get used to, your body just gets used to that. It kind of circumvents your normal circadian rhythm, and
I tell you, I fell right back into mine and I was mornings for 25 years, maybe more. And I hated it. My very first job I ever had was doing reservations for a major hotel chain. And my shift was 4 a.m. to 8 when I was 18 or 19. I'm like, what am I doing? Because I hate getting up in the morning. And then I ended up in morning radio. God help me. But I fell back into, once I got out of it, it was because I still would stay up way too late and then I'd have to nap. And that was my cycle for years. And it was awful because I was so tired in the afternoons. Now I sleep a rock solid 7-8 hours every night.
Wow.
And without batting an eye. Well, actually my eyes are shut. And but yeah, I'm pretty much 10 or 11 at night. And then I'm up the next morning. It just boom and wake up ready to go. But it's crazy.
Yeah. When Pat and I were doing the morning show, I mean, you had to stay up until at least midnight, until after Letterman was done, because, whatever Letterman was doing, you had to comment on it. And we had to record that and get it.
Yep. Yeah, that was the other thing. Nobody was recording that for you back at that time, right?
Well,
you didn't have a service providing it. He was your service.
I was. This actually, I like how he says we all had to stay up past midnight. We all, as in me. No, but you did. I'd come over and I'd pick up the audio tapes from your apartment and
yeah,
and then do it. Yeah, but that got me into that rhythm from 18 until whatever 2 years ago. Yeah. I can't sleep past 3:30 or 4.
Yeah, me neither.
Not a problem.
I mean, I'm at least up by 5:30 at least. So let's go up to the booth to our fact checker and see how we're proceeding. There's the flag.
It's a flag.
We have a challenge flag there, Sasha. You got any thoughts, my darling?
I don't have a challenge flag. I do want to go back to what you said, which I think is super important. That I don't think you just don't think about it because it's not what you're taught. Carbs, if they're not used right away for energy, is what is stored as the glucose in your body.
Exactly.
And I think that that's really important to point out because Like, it's just not common knowledge. Like we've been told to like stay away from carbs, but no one really explains the why behind that. And
Exactly.
I think that's more important to understand.
What does right away mean though? Like within like a half hour of eating them, you are working out, or how long?
Well, or even just going for a walk or whatever. So like I eat carbs because that's what I'm using to fuel the workout. And if I'm working out twice a day, then I need to eat more carbs. Or if I'm going to run 10 miles, I need to eat more carbs probably the night before. And I need to be a different kind of carb.
If you're going to go to the gym, you start working out at 6, you said, right? So if you eat at 5:30, like a half hour from after you actually eat it, is that when your body has time to start digesting that and processing the carbs?
Well, and it also makes a difference to describe which kind of carbs you're talking about, because complex and simple carbs are very different in how the body uses them. So I will eat a simple carb like a banana or an apple before, because it's the quickest available for my body to use.
It goes fast.
Got it.
Yes.
It metabolizes quickly.
Yep.
Now, I'll tell you a quick little story. When I was in my youth and I was on television, I was also a tennis player. And this was in the 80s. And there was a book that was just the rage among athletes at that time. And it was called Eat to Win. And it was by Ivan Lendl and Martina Navratilova when they were in their prime. And the deal was eat all the complex carbs you can stand, because they're slow and they store as glycogen in your muscles and in your liver, and boom, boom, boom. I was either on TV or I was playing tennis at least 4, 5, 6 hours a day, playing tournaments, amateur stuff. But still, I was treating it. It was just the life. And that's all I lived on was complex carbohydrate. I mean, I had 2 medium vegetarian pizzas every day of my life, literally at least 5 days a week for about 5 or 6 years when I was playing tennis out there. And I was 150 pounds. I was fit as hell. I could run like a deer all day long. And then when I stopped doing that, I kept eating like that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Uh-oh.
Because your total daily energy expenditure went down.
Exactly.
Like that's the other part I was going to bring up, is that it's important, I think, for everyone just to know that number, because that's just your baseline of what your body needs to have to be awake and like blinking. Like that's what it needs at its basal rate.
That's going to be on Friday, along with the formula. Is I'm going to teach everybody how to determine what their BMR is. Not that you're going to count calories. Calories is the worst thing. It's not a calories in, calories out thing. That is not it. That is a lie. That is a myth. But you do need to know what your body needs are. So, because if you cut the calories, like here you've got your calories that you're taking in every day, and here you have your basal metabolism rate, right? And if you cut this, say 2,000 on both sides, and I'm going to go on a diet, and I'm going to cut this, what I'm spending, what I'm taking in, down to 1,500. Well, that's good for a couple, 3, 4 weeks, but then your body goes, hang on a second, we'll die like this, you know that, right? And so then it adjusts down to just under what you're taking in. And then all of a sudden your weight loss stops. And then
because your metabolism slowed down, because it goes into starvation mode, and then it's holding on to everything.
Exactly. And then you get a little frustrated and go, oh no, I'm on a plateau. Oh, this is crummy. Okay, I'll drop it again. And it drops it just a little bit from 15 to 1,200. And the BMR just looks at you and going, man, get real. And it drops it down again. And now you're going, oh my God, I have cut my calories so much, I feel like crap. And now your metabolism rate is down here. And then you start putting on pounds, and you just say, well, screw it. And you're back up to here, and your metabolism is down here.
Yeah.
Then you are so screwed. So she's 100% spot on about that. And I thank you for bringing that up. And that's going to be on Friday's show, where I explain that in detail and how to go figure that out. It's really easy. It's not any great deal. You can just go online. The expensive way is to get a DECA or a SICA body test. and that will give you all that information. But you can just go online and find a calculator and really kind of get that information so that you have an idea. And you don't want to go under that, right? It's not that you want to go over that. You don't want to go under that, right?
What is it called? What's that called? What are we looking for here?
The basal metabolic rate. The
okay,
BMR, got it. And just go BMR calculator. Mm-hmm. And there are a ton of them. Just take the first one that comes up, and that will tell you based on your age, based on your weight, and based on your penis size. I can't believe I said that.
I'm going to be starving. I can tell that.
And I'm going to be bleeping that out. It's not as courageous as I used to be.
Come on, you can do it.
Funny joke though, right?
Right.
Anyway, based on those factors, and it'll tell you exactly what, based on that information, tell you exactly the amount of calories that you should take in every day, or that your body uses every day. And if you start going to, try to create a deficit, the big thing in the 90s, well, if you create a deficit, a 500 calorie deficit every day for 7 days, that's a pound a week, and you'll be losing a fat every week. Well, yeah, that's kind of true, right up until the point that the metabolism drops and changes. So,
so it says my BMR is 1,678 calories per day, which seems to me that's pretty low. It says sedentary, little or no exercise. It says 2013. I don't know. It says my BMR is 1678. So that's anything above that I spend, anything above that I eat is that what we're saying? Like if I'm sitting there rocking 4,000 calories a day with no exercise, that's obviously not good.
Yeah, you're going up. You're going to be a fatty. BMR is burning calories at rest. This is not working out. All right. So if you're working out, I would add calories to that 1648, a couple 300 calories to accommodate for the workout. And that way you're not in a constant deficit. You don't want to be in a deficit. You just want to fuel that workout, because that BMR has nothing to do with working out.
That's the thing.
Let's go.
I'm glad you said that, because honestly, go ahead and go to the booth real quick, because I was just looking at that.
That's what I was going to bring up too. You typically on Meathead Test Kitchen, we'll tell people to look up the TDEE calculator. So that's your total daily energy expenditure, which will then also allow you to put in if you are working out. But what I do advise people to do, just because you plan to do something or do a workout doesn't mean you're doing that. Right. So put in what you're actually doing. Having a plan to do something is great, but what are you actually doing? Because that number is more important than what you're planning on doing. So if you're not working out at all and you're not moving around and you're not going for your walk or whatever, then I would put sedentary. I know that word has crappy thoughts for people. Like if you think sedentary, you think just never moving ever.
Lazy.
But it's important to be honest with yourself too. You have to know what your baseline is. And if you are sedentary, then that's just how honest you have to be with yourself, because that's what your number is.
I was going to just throw in there, because like when I look the BMR calculator I grabbed up, BMR says a certain number, but then the next level up is sedentary. And they add a little bit more, because that BMR is just like you said, Rockett, that's your like baseline to stay alive,
right? Without
doing anything.
Right.
So then sedentary is about 300 calories more a day. Exercise 1 to 3 times a week adds about 300 more calories. So that BMR is not something to strive for. That's just to keep you alive.
It's just breathing.
That's it. I mean,
right. Yeah. But it's really important to know that. And typically what you want to be is, like Sasha said, you want to be in between your BMR lowest thing and your TDE calculator.
Yep.
And you want to be in that range of what you take in. And once you apply that to fasting and you create a smaller feeding window and a larger fasting window, knowing all that information, it just makes you a furnace when it comes to burning fat. And you're doing that while you're sitting, right? You don't have
and it's really important to get those calories, because I think something some people do that are on intermittent fasting is not get enough calories, that they'll eat that in that short window.
Exactly.
And they got to make sure, which is what you're pointing to about knowing what that baseline number is, because you need to get those calories in.
Exactly. You guys are fantastic. I can't remember when I've had such fun. There was that one time in Beverly Hills under the sink. But
wow, good Lord.
Is that another podcast?
Right. Right.
That's a whole other channel.
How do you get under the sink?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I was worried that he just couldn't remember. I was like, oh, thank God he does remember. So he remembers Beverly Hills. That's all good. It's all good. Okay.
All right. I thank you all. And anytime you would like to honor me with your presence on my podcast, there's always a Zoom link for each of you. I just want to tell you that. Let's awesome. Just take a quick thing, and Sasha Koss, give us what you're doing over there and where they can find you.
We host Meathead Test Kitchen with my cohort Sadie. It comes out every single Monday, anywhere you can find your podcasts. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter is MTK Staff, and we're putting up content all the time. Our workouts, what we're eating, probably some swear words. It's a lot of fun.
They are kind of cussy. Yeah.
we're a lot of sweary.
My kind of podcast. Pat and JT, you want to tell us a little bit about where they can find you as well?
Is patandjt.com still forwarding to the right place? I don't know. Anyway,
wait, let me look real quick.
You can search Pat and JT on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also like Sasha said, anywhere you can get your podcasts, and also herdatmedia.com. Just click on network.
Which is HURRDAT, Herdat. Pat and JT is going to the right place.
Okay, good. So go to patandjt.com.
Now the term Herdat, did that develop from I heard that? Mm-hmm. Is that where I came from or no?
Yep.
Yeah.
It,
really?
It was two college guys that named it. They were former Husker players. That named it. They went into business together, and that's what they came up with, and stuck. They decided to keep it. Yeah.
And I want to just say, make a plea for subscribers from your listenership, and I will do the same for mine. I'll ask both of my listeners if they would subscribe to you. And you guys are fabulous.
How many do you need? How are you doing? I mean, because I've been spreading the word. I
think I'm 36 at the moment, but it's only been a week, so I'm very happy with that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I just want to get to 100 so that I can, get the URL FastRockett, youtube.com/FastRockett, and that way it's easier to promote, right? And people just can search FastRockett and be there. And so it's really an interesting thing, and I'm going to appeal to both of you. I need help with the whole marketing thing because, the Almost Famous podcast, great idea, but the fact of the matter is nobody's interested in Rockett in the morning, and there are anymore, and that's okay. But a lot of people are interested in this, and I have the data to back it up. By the way, is it data or is it data? I never know.
However fancy you want to be.
Data sounds less douchey. Data kind of sounds like you're being smart. Like, I got the data.
Really?
This is data.
Was it data or data that was on Starship or was on?
It was on Goonies. He was Data.
No,
Data.
No, not
Star
Goonies.
Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek was data.
Star Trek.
Well, that's what I mean. So go with data.
Yeah.
All right, Sasha, what's your last name, my darling?
Durkin, Durkan.
Like the pickle.
Yeah, that's a gherkin.
That's a gherkin.
You think I don't know that? Sasha Gherkin.
And
you're gherkin.
there we go.
Girl.
You're gherkin.